Peace, family. Big awareness energy. If you focus on healing, you do not want to miss it. Artificial love is not okay with you being you.
Yeah.
Artificial love got something to say about everything that you do. When you do something that's real you that they don't align with, artificial love finna call you out, act funny, say you acting funny, say you switching up. They're finna do everything that they can to get you to go back.
Yeah, they're gonna try to just.
You know what I'm saying? Artificial love doesn't come with elevation. It's a place of where you think you're building patience, but you only procrastinate.
Spray my house with frankincense to start my day again. Today I had to disconnect from my low vibrating friend. Hey, spray my house with frankincense to start my day again. Hey, yeah. Tell me what part of receiving love make you hate a man.
Peace, 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 family. Shadow Work Sundays, where self-love is therapy. You already know the vibes. I am King Manifest.
I'm Cleo.
And today, obviously, you see we have a special guest. So she is a master voice speech professional, master Reiki professional, meditation guide, and actor, director, dialect coach with a master's in fine arts from Brown University. She is also the creator of Guided Inspiration and the Art of Awareness. I am honored to present CC Rice.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for that long introduction.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you have a very impressive resume.
Thank you. I worked hard for all that stuff, so I feel good. Thank you for having me.
I say. And so tonight, the title of tonight's episode is Psychic Meditation. And so we're going to dive deep on the energy exchange, the processing of energy, and hopefully unlock some cheat codes for you when you're dealing with people and their energy, or technically your energy. We're going to get to that. But let's start off with the heart chakra, with the root chakra bell. Then we'll go into all our exercises and, so I would say in this time, just feel vulnerable, feel comfortable. You can start doing breath work now, if you feel like it. Now we're going to get into the Rainbow Collective exercise. I say. So let's get it, Kai.
I say. So first and foremost, so today we're talking about psychic awareness and body language. So we're gonna take our hands, dealing with the reflexology point, and we just gonna ball our fist and squeeze and create pressure throughout our whole avatar. And then release. Squeeze and create pressure, build energy. Allow it to break through any blockages. Squeeze. Open your hands up. Now take your fingertips in the circular motion. Wake up the central nervous system. And we're going to take our hands and place it right under the ring finger and send that energy to the heart space. Both hands. Now tap the chest, tap your thymus gland, tap your heart space. Tell everything to turn on and tune in. Every aspect of your being has become aware of itself, and your whole consciousness is expanding around your whole avatar. I say,
I say. And
Shay.
so now we're going to get into the heart chakra singing bowl. So at this time, you say you can do your breath work. You want to meditate, whatever it is you want to do to receive this energy. I say.
Shay.
So first and foremost, family, is to let y'all know. Maybe it's me being self-conscious. I am dealing with my wisdom too, so I'm not going to be as active as normal. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? I'm gonna try not to be. Um, but I'm just letting y'all know. If I seem a little off, what I'm saying, that's what it is. And it's up. We finna rock out. So to lighten the energy, because it's very heavy on the planet and very sensitive and it's a lot going on, we're gonna start off with a song. I don't know how to say her name, so I'm not going to try. But it's an amazing song. It's a mantra. If the words connect with you and you pick up on it, then repeat it. Start to sing along with the song, and embody it as a meditation.
say.
Everything inside of me. Everything I need inside of me. Everything I need, yeah, is already inside. Everything I need is already inside. Everything I need, everything is already inside of me. Everything I need, yeah, is already inside. Everything I need everything I need. Everything is already inside. Everything I need. Everything is already inside of me. Everything I need is already inside. Everything I need, everything is already inside. Already inside of me. Everything I need is already inside.
Hey, man, yeah, I love that song. Me and my wife, we actually meditate to that. You know, she has a whole CD of mantras, and we would meditate, set the color of the room, you know, to whatever chakra that we felt like that, you know, that we needed to connect with or align or whatever energy we was connecting with. But that song is very powerful. And then that's the song we would use to wake up in the rising too.
Mhm.
And the rising be the first song you listen to, you know, you wake up in the rising, you know. So yeah, so y'all definitely, and it was deep that it was orange. The color was
Yeah, I
orange.
was just gonna say that.
So with that being said, let's tap into guided inspiration and get into the power of creative energy, heart space energy, and crown energy. The power of of using your gifts. And
Yeah.
so, Kai, what was you specifically talking about? It was something like the exercise. I don't know the name of it. If you have a name for it, CC.
Oh yeah, Kai, you had a great question, so I'm gonna let you ask it.
Yes. So yeah, so I wanted to ask her first was how has reading your own body language helped you along your journey?
Mhm. So this, I said earlier that we should save the question because it's a big answer, and it's sort of my origin story and how I came to be the person that I am right now. When I was about 8 years old, that was when I started acting on stage. And it was a big year in my life. A lot of trauma, a lot of changes, a lot of good things, but lots of shifting pieces. Um, and it was also the year in my life when I started to get migraine headaches. Almost every day after school, my mom would pick me up and I'd go home and I'd just have to lay in a dark room until the next day. Couldn't eat, couldn't move, couldn't walk, couldn't have any noise, just had to completely shut down. And it went on for years, and I kept going to different doctors and talking to different specialists, and they would say, oh, it's your eyes, oh, you'll go through puberty and it'll go away, oh, it'll do that. And it just wouldn't stop. So it persisted. By the time I got to high school, I was waking up every morning with lockjaw. Couldn't open my mouth more than this much. I had to stop eating solid foods. I started seeing a specialist for TMJ. They gave me popsicle sticks to stick in my mouth, and nothing was working. And it wasn't until I got to college and I started doing more conservatory style actor training. And you take a class called voice and speech as part of your training. And in voice and speech, yes, you deal with your voice, how you make sound, how you create character through the voice, but it's actually the part of actor training that is more soul centered than anything else, because we deal with posture and how tension, trauma, stress gets stuck in the body in the form of habits. And posture is just a habit, right? And what I learned starting to do that practice is we would warm up before we spoke in class. Before we did anything, the first thing we would do, we'd go in, we'd power down, we'd listen to music, we'd start to warm up the voice from bottom to top, and we'd massage our jaw, and we'd align our posture, and we'd do breath work, and we'd do sound work. And I started to realize my jaw stopped locking, and my migraines were going away. And I started to understand that what was happening, and the reason why doctors couldn't tell me what was going on, was because it was all tension. It was secret keepers tension, which happens in this band right here when you're a kid and you feel like you have so much on you, but you have no outlet to put that. Also, we didn't acknowledge at that time that kids even had stress. We didn't even acknowledge that stress was a thing that happened in the body and not just in the mind. And so as I started going deeper into my actor training and I went to grad school, by the time I got to grad school, I started to teach voice and speech to my classmates. And I started to realize that I could see a person and see where they were holding tension in their body. And I could see what it was connected to. And I could help them to breathe into that space to let that tension go. And I could feel with my hands where they were holding in their body and where they needed to release in order to feel whatever feeling they had been repressing for however many years. And I started to understand the power of touch. And I started to use that for myself. And it's an important thing to understand that when we do this, when we have a toothache, that's us trying to heal ourselves because we've got all these negative ions in our hands, right? All the nerve endings.
I'm trying not to do it right now. Yeah.
I know. And so when we have pain is a positive charge. And if we've got negatively charged hands, our instinct is to put our hand where the pain is to rebalance, to bring healing to ourselves. And then there's a twist. The pandemic hits. And all my classes, which I've been teaching in classrooms at different universities, at high schools, professional theaters, everywhere, everything moves online. And suddenly I have to figure out how to do what I've been doing with my hands and with my body this whole time just by my sight and my intuition. And I started to realize that I had more ability to see and feel what other people were seeing and feeling by putting their energy into my body. By transforming myself into them, I could feel where they were holding, what they were feeling, what was going on inside the body. And so when you lose one sense, when you can't touch, other things heighten and turn on. And so that's where that sort of psychic connection comes in. And you realize we are all connected. People always ask me, can you read the energy of a person who's neurodivergent? Of course, because energy is energy. Neurodivergence is a classification that we decided on a few years ago. That has nothing to do with how we move energies between one another and through ourselves. So that's the answer to your question, is that I had to figure out what was causing me pain in order to let it go. And then that became the thing that I had the power to give to others.
So before we move on, because this is a perfect segment to go into the definition and the etymology of these words. But before that, I want to let y'all know, and Kai, he felt it too. Backstage, I told her about my tooth. She's like, you want me to, you know what I'm saying? I was like, of course, like, so we go into a meditation and she starts to do her work, and what's deep is that I was feeling a soothing, but they were feeling the throbbing of like she said, she finds so I feel like that is deep with healing, because the key of awareness is to find the pain. See, we run from pain, but if we actually face the pain, find the pain, we can actually heal the pain, and that's what your whole story was about.
Yes. That's the art of awareness. If you can become aware, then you can heal. You can't heal it if you're not aware.
I see. That's deep, because like even in your story, I thought about a specific time where you said it's kind of like you switch perspectives with the person and like their energy becomes yours. Like that happened to me, and I didn't realize what happened till after the conversation, and I'm like, I wasn't even like present. Like it's just like my whole point of view, everything just shifted. So like it's just very interesting to see somebody take that ability and even scale it. So like much gratitude for even being a vessel for that level of awareness.
Bless you. Yeah, it's powerful to be able to give.
Yes.
So let's see. So let's get it, Kai. We're gonna start with psychic.
What is the definition of psychic? Psychic, relating to or denoting faculties or phenomena that are apparently inexplicable by natural laws, especially involving telepathy or clairvoyance. So now, what is the etymology of psychic? In 1872, of or pertaining to the human soul, from Greek psychikos, of the soul, spirit, or mind. Also, in the New Testament, is concerned with the life only in animal.
That's deep. So, you know, when she's talking about it, she said it don't matter about what they classify you as in this realm. This is about the soul. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what is meditation? Meditation. Think deeply or focus one's mind for a period of time in silence or with the aid of chanting for religious or spiritual purposes or as a method of relaxation.
I like
and
that
just to add on, break down the word meditate. Medi means middle, the middle of something. Tate means to be cheerful. So like, and then ion. So ion would be a form of energy or positively charged form of energy. So then meditation will literally you be becoming the medium between the physical and the spiritual realm. Even though we're planted here on this grid, on this plane, we still are the mediums because we're in between the heavens and the earth. So definitely just to add on for meditation.
You know, and just when people be figuring out how do people have these type of experiences in meditation, how do they this and that, it's because exactly what Kyle is saying. They're able to understand how to move between those different realms, between here and there. You know what I'm saying? Between the shadow and the higher self. You know what I'm saying? Between the inner child and and the oversoul. You know.
And most intrinsically, just to even ground it, how to move your consciousness through your own body to feel the energy points as Cece was explaining. That is also moving through different realms.
I see.
And then the etymology of meditation. In the 1580s, to ponder, think abstractly, in mental contemplation, and transitive, probably a back formation from meditation or else from Latin meditatus, past principle of meditare, to meditate, think over, reflect, or consider. So becoming the medium between perspectives.
Right.
I love that.
And what did we talk about today? So you hear me, you said, bro, how you vibrate? We was talking, I said, I'm vibrating in what? New perspectives. And you was like, bro, I resonate with that. You know, so like that's the energy right now. You know.
Yeah. Big new perspectives, right? I mean, everything is shifting.
And so I have a question. And so this question is basically a question that I cooked up based off of filling the tribe, you know. And so it's a collective question for you know what I'm saying. So protecting our energy is important, right? So what type of body languages should we pay attention to when we're interacting with others?
This is a beautiful question. The big thing to pay attention to when you interact with others is what's happening to your energy, right? We don't have to we can prepare our energy for the unknown, for what we're about to enter into in the world, right? That is what meditation really is for, to find our personal center so that when we interact with the collective, we know who we are within that. How we vibrate naturally helps to raise the collective vibration. But what's most important is that when you interact with an energy, it doesn't mean that it's bad or good. It may just not vibrate well with you. So it's important for you to pay attention to what happens to you when someone comes around. When they get close, do you want them to come closer or do you want them to stop and back away? What part of your body starts doing that action even before your mind has caught up? Pay attention to what moves on your body when you come into an interaction with someone. This is part of the reason why I almost always start in neutral. feet flat on the floor, knees are soft, hips are soft, sphincter is relaxed, shoulders are back. And then I watch what happens to my energy in the presence of other people. Do I start to shift away and pull into one hip? Am I pulling my heart away? Or am I pulling my head away? Am I pulling my eyes away? Or am I pulling my mouth in? What is it that's being activated in me that is either opening or closing? Everything is about opening or closing. Is the energy welcoming or is it protecting itself? So your body will naturally protect itself. It's up to you to develop the consciousness to know when that's happening so that you can remove yourself from a situation that is not for you.
So, family, we talk a lot about the heart space, a lot about intuition. This is a intuitive gift, and so since it's intuitive, that means we all have it because we all have a heart space, so we all can tap into this gift and use it as, like she said, because what's it's like the body, right? The body will kill itself trying to heal itself. So energy, like she said, it when is, you don't have to protect anything. You just have to be in alignment.
Yeah.
You
And we have multiple intuitive centers because each of the energy centers works with the others, right? So we have gut intuition, which is connected to the root. We have heart intuition. Scientists have finally proven that the heart has a mind of its own, that it thinks, that there are cells that are basically neurological cells that are unique to the heart. So they finally have the scientific evidence to prove that there is a heart thought. And then we also have the third eye, which is what we usually talk about as our intuitive center. But the third eye really communicates in a deep way with the crown. They work together to decipher messages and to bring us toward our higher self, our perfect, pure self that never comes down to earth, but radiates from above. And then we also have the back of the neck, the Alta Major, which is the nickname for it is the mouth of God. And the reason why it's called that, some people also call it the gate of heaven, which I also love. But when you close off the mouth of God, what you're left with is this posture, which is like pushing at people. And the mouth just goes and it says whatever it wants, but it's not connected to spirit. When you open the Alta Major, this is why every deity that's ever drawn or depicted always is open and balanced in this space. No matter what else is going on with the body, this space is open because there has to be flow. This space back here controls the alignment of everything else. If this goes out, the chest moves, the belly moves, the crown's off, everything goes. If this goes into place, so does everything else.
And also, that's deep. We think about your spine, we talk about the Kundalini, we talk about our chakra, and we talk about the energy. So that means that, like when we talk about the 33rd vertebrae and going up to the crown and reaching that higher self aspect, that Christ consciousness, it's impossible if we're stuck like this because we're going to block that energy.
Absolutely. 100%.
And then I would even just like to add on, I like the fact that you express that when you close your neck backwards and people begin to project outwardly, in the back of your neck, that is where your hypothalamus is, and that deals with your body temperature. You see, if you close off your body temperature and you begin to muster up a lot of rambunctious energy, that's heat. And what does heat do when it doesn't have an outlet? It builds pressure. And then if you give it that outlet, as far as closing your neck backwards, then you express that way. So the key is, like she's saying, to align it and allow it to go shoot that pressure straight up through the crown chakra.
You know what else lives in that space? Just below that is the medulla oblongata, which controls balance, our ability to feel vibration. So if you're closing that off, because what happens when you do that is you are actively robbing your body of blood supply. And what happens when you rob your body of blood supply? You shut off nerve conduction. And if you shut off nerve conduction and blood supply, that means there's no breath there, right? Blood has breath in it. We oxygenate our blood. That's why it turns red. So if you've cut all that off, how could you possibly maintain the energy to be in tune with anyone else. If your balance center is closed and your vibratory frequency monitor is closed, right? So all that stuff, fight, flight, fornication, it all lives in that old brain space. And so keeping that open also tells the body, I am safe. If you tell your body, I'm in duress, I'm afraid, I can't do it, your body will follow, right? Your mind will follow.
What else I also just thought of was also in that space is something called the reptilian brain. What do snakes do right before they're about to attack? They clench their neck back. So like that's deep. That's definitely deep.
Oh, there's so many connections between snakes and the spine and you know,
Yes.
the Bible, and
Yeah,
it's all one.
So
I
I think this would be a good time for that exercise because we kind of skipped over it.
Okay.
We're thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the name of it, you know, but we're going to be your tribe. First of all, let me let the tribe know. So she has certain things that she does through her gift, and she's going to do it. But family, y'all participate as well, as if we're presenting something or whatever. But she's going to actually be dealing directly with us and asking us certain questions, but ask yourself these questions too, family. You know what I mean? Put your answers in the chat. Let's make this very interactive.
Okay. So what I'm going to show you, and actually I need a volunteer. So which one of you wants to?
Kai go.
Okay, Kai. Great. So we call this is essentially the method that I use to start an energy reading. When somebody comes to me and they want to see what's happening in their energetic field, the first thing that I do is I normally would have them stand, but we'll forego that. But what I am going to ask you to do, Kai, is sit as forward on your chair as you can so that your feet are flat on the floor, so that your upper body sort of feels like it's standing up if you don't already feel that way. Okay. And I'm going to explain what I'm observing after I observe it. I'm going to do it just like I do it in a session. So you'll just sort of feel like a fly on the wall at this point. So first things first, we'll tune into each other. And so we always start by taking a deep breath. So go ahead and just take a deep breath for me. Good. And then take another deep breath for me and let that breath go all the way down to your belly. Good. Very nice. And now I want you to describe for me in as much detail as possible your future best self.
That's a good one.
That is.
Future best self.
I want to play too.
One at a time.
That question is wow.
It's very deep.
I'm gonna ask myself that every day. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I would say my future best self is open, grounded, and in a place of buoyancy as far as when any situation comes and I deal with it from a space of receptive inceptivity to transform it instead of allowing it to subjugate my whole being to prolong a situation. And then lastly, full of feeling.
Good. Anything else?
Nah, that's it.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so I'm going to do this one and then we're going to do yours. Okay. So this exercise is called future casting. And what I'm asking you to do is to tune into your higher self, your fifth dimensional self, the version of you that knows where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And I'm asking you to look at your life in a fifth dimensional way and then pluck out the piece that's the best and tell me what that looks like. And what I'm listening for is, and looking at and feeling for, is how close the energy you are in right now is to the energy of that best self. Are there times when they are already vibrating in the same place? They're comfortable together. They're doing what they say they are doing. Or is there a lot of distance between them? And how do I determine if there's distance? I'm doing several things at once. I'm listening and I'm looking, right? So first thing that happened is I asked you to breathe. And I'm asking you to breathe because I want to see where the uninhibited breath goes. What's your natural way of taking in breath before you get stimulated by the question? How do you normally breathe? Do you breathe through center, right? And your way of breathing was a little high and tight. Chest rose up a little bit, back of the neck kind of pulled back just a touch, and then you let air out through a circular mouth rather than breathing out through the nose. Neither one is good or bad, but I'm just observing which is which. This is a quick exhalation. When we open the mouth, air comes out really fast. When we breathe out the nose, air goes out slower. Okay. So you really took your time with the breath, but you could have breathed, I think, twice as big. I think you could have filled twice as much capacity with the amount of time that you took to breathe. But because your exhale was a little bit longer than your inhale, right? So it's a little bit of an imbalanced breath, right? We want the inhale and the exhale to be pretty equal, right? So then the next breath, when I asked you to breathe into your belly, was much more open, much more balanced. And there was less breath that expelled at the end on the exhale all at once. Came out a little bit slower, and you had much more peace in the back of the neck and the spine, okay? Then as soon as I asked you the question, you pulled your lips in and you licked your lips, which is a suppression. There was probably something that came to mind immediately, but it was censored because it wasn't quite the thing, right? So you're kind of measuring as you go, right? Your reading altogether was pretty measured, right? You took a while to kind of find the thing. And I imagine that part of that has to do with you would have had an easier time if you closed your eyes. If you allowed yourself to actually go and find the image and then tell me about the image, but instead you were trying to find the language to explain to me where you were, right? So, and then you were looking up into, I think it's the left, but I'm not sure just because I'm not sure if we're mirrored or not.
Left.
Okay. So you were looking to your left a lot, which is, that's where you are. Well, it kind of depends actually, because we create on one side, right? And then on the other side, we invent. And so either, you were in a memory, which is a good thing because you're looking back at your future, trying to describe for me what you saw back in your future, which is an interesting thing, right? Or you're looking forward and you're still co-creating this future self, which is the energy that I got. I got very much that you are in the process of creating your future and the best version of you. And so the plates are still shifting for you. You're still managing what it means to be the highest vibration and other ways that came through. Look down a little bit A lot of lip tension, lots of measuring, right? Lots of figuring. And then you started to speak. And then the first thing that came was open, which is very interesting to me because your first instinct when the question came was to close. And so the other thing that happens in this exercise is it puts things in order of importance. Where we start is what we need the most. Our future self is telling our present self, this is what you've got to do to get to me. You've got to just open. It's as simple as that. It was the simplest first word I think I've ever had anybody do with this. And then right after you said open, you closed again. And then you found grounded in that space of deciding. And then you found in a place of buoyancy. So notice how the thought is getting bigger and bigger. The language is getting bigger and bigger as you start to find and co-create the energy of this future, right? And then there was a little bit more back to looking off. And then we got to receptive to transform whatever it is that's coming to you. And the other thing I'm listening for is if you are saying I statements, I am, or I will, or I want to, right? That's telling me where you are in the energy. And yours were a lot of I want to be, right? I will be. It was a lot of future tense stuff rather than I am or he is, right? But he is, there's also distance there because that's on the screen outside of us looking at somebody else playing our part, right? But order of importance, get open, get grounded, but don't get so grounded that you don't have your lightness. And then when you start to talk about not allowing, I tried to write all this down, not allowing yourself to subjugate your whole being and not prolong the situation. Bingo, bingo, bingo. That's your biggest issue, is not letting things go the instant that they need to be let go of. Holding on for a little too long is the thing that interrupts you from being the highest vibrational version of you. If I had asked you this question differently, if I had said to you, describe for me everything that you need to do to become the best person you will be, you wouldn't have known what to say. But when I ask you to go to the future and report back about who you are at that time, we all know the answers. We know exactly who we're meant to be, and we know exactly how to get out of our own way. So don't allow your whole being, and the whole part is important to me, that your whole self cannot be consumed. You can allow part of yourself. You can go to a place where you find that and you cleanse it, but don't let it take you down, right? And then at the very end, you had some beautiful slow breaths in the chest, just really easy, really gentle, really kind. And that was when you got to feeling, which is connected. All these things are connected. It's a tree, right? Not allowing yourself to be subjected to that prolonged situation is all about letting yourself feel it. Going into the experience, feel it fully so you can let it go. Right? And then we would talk about
That's deep.
next steps.
It's like you was my higher self in my head, and now you here saying that. Like,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. That's deep, Kyle.
I know.
I know you, but I'm still getting to know you. But by what I know, when you said he need to close his eyes, family, every time I've actually talked to Kyle, we've had deep conversations or deep revelations or maybe talking shadow work to process.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's like a second nature to him. So that's deep that you said that. I think that stood out too, because that's one of your tangible cheat codes
Yes,
to
it is.
obtain the other side, to obtain,
Well, that's not universal. It's so people who are introspective need to close their eyes to think. So if you're the kind of person that can visualize colors easily, you're introspective. If you're the kind of person that needs to see it before you make it, you have to feel it up here, you're introspective. And so when we don't allow ourselves to do that and we stay out here, we get clouded. because it's so clear in here when we close down. So you can use that. If something feels difficult, close it down, realign, find the picture of what you want to be, and it'll be right there for you.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely powerful. Even how you were able to capture so many things that he said, like exactly what he said. Like I don't even know how you was able to write that down. And Kai, because you know now the earpiece going off. I'm trying to be quiet. Really, that's why I'm loving how the energy's moving. But I gotta say this because that's why I said. See, I didn't know why I said you for this Kai. I'm not even gonna do it. It's not for me. This was supposed to be for you, and this is so powerful. So I want you to understand this, right? Normally, when you talk in an emotional shadow work place, you think you're talking from a place of all over the place. And when you just talked, it kind of sounded like this guy is all over the place. Not like intentionally, but like he's finding his way. But you would look at that as a bad thing, not like this is my process. This is how I find all the answers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if somebody asks you, they say, what is it like to travel to Las Vegas? If you only went halfway and turned around, you can't tell them what it's like to go to Vegas, to travel to Vegas, because you didn't go all the way to Vegas. So that's your superpower. So don't look at it as overthinking. Is grounding what they call overthinking. Because when you close your eyes, that's your grounded. Open eyes, overthink. Closed eyes, grounded. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when she asked that, I started computing everything. Like I literally started to overthink different aspects of different realities and dreams of where I was, So like, yeah, definitely being
I
able
felt
to close
that.
my eyes with. Yeah.
And here's the thing. When we get an open question, almost all the time when I do these questions with people, they're all open questions. I don't give you any rules. So what you choose to do, how you take the question, right, is everything. Do you say, oh, I shouldn't XYZ? Oh, let me not blah, 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 right? I can't close my eyes. I shouldn't do, right? Do we self-censor? Or do we just go with like, I don't know what you want, but this is how I'm doing it. And neither one is good or bad. This is what I mean about what I said about whether energies work together or not. Because I would never say, oh, you took too long to answer that question. So, right? It's not about that. It's about reading the energy that happens while you're answering the question. I'll wait all day.
But will you wait on yourself, Kyle?
I keep thinking about this video that I was watching the other day about magnetism, and what you just said, I think it answered a question that I was having, because King would dialogue about Kool-Aid with magnetism and how you can put different energies in the Kool-Aid batch and mix it together, and then you can taste all the different. But I was computing it as like it's all our polar opposite things coming together to create something beautiful if they not even connecting on a magnetic scale. Because the reason why we can feel water is because we not water. So like just equating that to this and not trying to combat the same energy with like when I process with that mindset of overthinking and just going through it, like you said, because you won't know that you would get to Las Vegas if you don't go type. So definitely was useful, and definitely expressing gratitude to the both of y'all.
That's such a nice comment. And thank you. I mean, it takes a lot to be read in front of other people. I normally do this in a private session, and it is a very vulnerable thing. It brings a lot of feelings to the surface, because when you're having your energy read, I'm kind of energetically, I'm kind of digging on you. I'm kind of like trying to pull things to the surface. That's why I ask the question that I ask. I don't want you to stay here. I want you to go there. I want you to lift off. And so it's a lot to ask, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to be that vulnerable. So I really appreciate you for doing that.
I say,
I say.
Shadow Work Sundays, where self love is therapy. um,
I say.
so first, I want to say this because one of the tribe members asked a question.
Yeah.
We normally do this at the end of the show, but if you can you see in the back the private chat?
Yes.
If you can put the link to your link tree in the private chat. Do you is there a link in your link tree to where you do these type of
I do. Yeah, I'll put that in. Give me
Okay.
just a hot second. I will do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tap in with you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
This is undeniable work, family. And those that know Kai, we know Kai, and that was a very beautiful reading because, like I said, I'm so used to him closing his eyes, like always. You know what I'm saying? To connect. So yeah, this is lit. So let's talk about color mood words.
Yeah. So, I don't even know when I started doing this technique, but one day, I think it just happened in a session and I was just kind of channeling, and it became my rituals that whenever I'd start a coaching session with a client and they'd come in, I always say, how you doing? And everybody gives me whatever generic answer people give. And after they give me their generic answer, then I ask them, okay, can you describe for me your color mood in details of tone, temperature, texture, color? And be as detailed as you can about how your mood is right now in terms of color. So let's try it. So how about both of you tell me what your mood is right now in terms of color, and be as descriptive as you can. Not just blue, but what kind of blue? What temperature is that blue? What does that blue feel like if you could pick it up and touch it?
Okay, so I would say like a past.
Oh, you good? You good?
So I would say like a pastel lime green. I definitely feel like a deep but neon orange. A golden metallic yellow. I mean, a golden metallic yellow. A very murky navy, indigo-ish color. I would say light blue and a regular blue stripes, and a very vibrant but deep and shiny red, like it's almost warm. You could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely like a sweet but very, very stern purple. Like it's a calm purple, but that purple is assertive.
Okay. Now close your eyes for me. I think it's frozen. Are your eyes closed? Close your eyes for me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now tell me one color that's there.
So many came, but the first one I think I caught was the lime green pastel.
Okay, good. So I'll tell you what that all means in a second. Okay, King, what's your color mood?
It's deep that bro had a lot of colors.
I know.
Because what I saw was a rainbow, but reflecting off of pure black. Like it was almost like, so it was black. It was like darkness. Like, but it wasn't like darkness as in colors was around it or inside of it, like making light. It was more like they like the black was creating the colors. And when he said that vibrant red, that was the first color I saw. That vibrant red, like a Clifford. That's the first guy I saw, Clifford the Red Dog, like that vibrant red. And then there was a maroon, like right next to it, a maroon that was like a almost like dried up blood. To be honest, and then a purple. It's kind of similar colors actually. But the purple was more like it wasn't like royal purple, it was darker.
Okay.
It was like a shade darker than like the royalty color purple. And then like a goldish gold, but not gold like golden, like golden rays, like a golden ray. That's what I was seeing reflected, but it was in rainbow form, reflecting off of like a black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so what I would do with that information is I would just take it, I'd write it down. I will let you know, by the way, that those are the two most in-depth color mood descriptions I have ever received, ever. Which is incredible. So what we would do is we'd start our session with that, just tuning in. Where are you at today? And then we would do our warm-up, okay? And the warm-up that I do, to learn it, it takes about an hour. To do it once we're up to speed fully, it's about 35 to 45 minutes. And we start lying flat on the floor, flat on our backs with our feet flat on the floor, so that we're in a position called semi-supine, right? Which supine is just flat on the floor. Semi-supine just means your feet are flat on the floor with your knees up, right? And you place your hands on your rib cage, right where your sternum ends. And we spend a few minutes there listening to music, just tuning in to the same frequencies. Then we take a 2-minute nap, roll over onto our side into the fetal position, and we restart our day. We reset. We go back to black. And then we rebuild the body from the fetal position. This is root work, right? Roll the body over using as little effort as possible, like you're a slug. And then build yourself into the tabletop position, finding balance. Okay? And from balance, we do cat-cow. Find the breath, find the flow. All of this is spine work too. When we're lying flat on the back, we're just letting the spine stretch out, open as much as it can, passively. And then we go into fetal position, curling the spine, passive stretch. Then we do cat-cow, right? Active stretch of the spine. And then we roll up to standing so that we get up to standing as easy as possible, starting from a squat. And then we roll up slow, one vertebrae at a time, placing our crown, finding our feet. And then we warm up the voice as we open up the body. And so we start to do these exercises where we bring in the voice, the body, the massage, making sound. We pound on the chest and make sound like Tarzan to activate the thymus gland, right? We do all of these things in the body. And then once the voice is fully warm and the body is fully stretched, and we've combined all the things together so that we're using vibration, breath, blood flow, nerve conduction, and a little bit of spirit, we rub our hands together. So you can do this with me. Everybody can do this with me. And you're going to close down your eyes and just listen to the sound of my voice as I guide you through this, okay? It's really easy. You're just going to start to picture a white light shining above your head. It's like a shower of white light pouring down over the top of your head. And you want to start to build as much heat in your hands as you can as you picture that white light brightening and brightening. And then you're going to bring that white light down through the crown into the third eye, and it's just going to purify and turn each of your energy centers bright white. And as you move down into the throat, down into the heart center, the energy splits at the heart, travels down the shoulders, down the arms, into the hands, and now you amass this huge energy of white light in the palms of your hands. And then I want you to just pause your hands, stop the movement, keep your eyes closed. Now you're just going to bring the hands apart from each other just about a centimeter, as close to each other as you can without touching. And you feel that energy that's moving through your palms right now, that static energy. It might feel like a magnet. You might feel a little fuzziness. You might feel some extreme heat. You're just going to play with that like taffy. Start to move the hands back and forth and see how far you can stretch that energetic ball. What can you do with it? Can you move it? Can you open it? If you bring your hands too far apart, do you lose it? Where do you find it again? And once you feel that sensation, we're just going to charge it up one more time, rubbing the hands together really vigorously, finding all the heat we can in the hands. And then once more, we stop. Feel the energy between the palms. It should be a little stronger now. And then we're going to let the hands hover over the root center. So you're just going to place your hands over your pelvis, not touching the body, just hovering. And then you're going to picture the color red. A deep, dark, rich, earthy red color. Grounding you, connecting you to Mother Earth. With each inhalation, your root softens as you deepen your connection. And once you can see the color red in any shade that feels closest to your root and earth energy, take a nice deep breath in and let the hands float up just a little, just below the belly button, to the sacral energy, our center of creativity and intimacy. Here we picture orange. Maybe it's a watery orange light swirling in a clockwise motion. And as you picture this orange light in your mind's eye, allowing it to shine bright, feeling that creative energy bursting from your body, take a nice deep breath in and let the hands float up just a little bit, hovering now over the solar plexus, right where the sternum ends and the ribs open wide. Here you're going to picture a bright, shining yellow light, like the sun, bursting from your center, warming the palms of your hands. And once you can see that yellow light, allow your hands to float up over the center of the heart space, right in the center of the chest. Here we begin to picture green or pink, whichever one comes easier. This is the green of empathy and community, compassion, and balance. We balance at the heart center. And then we allow our hands to float up on a nice inhale to the throat, letting the hands hover over the throat center where we picture an icy blue orb, a crystal blue. And as that orb spins at the throat center, clearing, cleansing, leaving clarity behind, we take a nice deep breath in, Let the hands float up over the third eye at the center of the forehead. And now we picture a deep, dark, swirling indigo, darker than the deepest part of the ocean. This is our center of intuition, deep knowing, inner knowledge. As we take a nice deep breath, we allow the hands to float up once again over the crown, hovering over the crown of the head. We picture a white light pouring down from our hands and a white light pouring up from the crown into the hands. Now they share white light, empowering one another. Breathing deeply into the belly, softening the legs, relaxing the toes, feeling the opposition of grounding while reaching toward source. And then we let the hands float back to the back of the head, right where the head meets the neck, where the base of the skull curves. And here we picture a rainbow pinwheel of light spinning, combining each of the energy centers one by one. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, white. And on our next deep breath, we reach the hands toward the sky, inhaling nice and big. And then allow the hands to fall down the front of the body like a waterfall, slowly and gently, closing down each energy center one by one, knowing that you have organized every drawer. So you don't need to leave them open now that they're organized. You can close them and save their energy for later. And as your hands return to your lap or to your center or to neutral, as you relax the shoulders, find your breath. And now I want you to check in with your color mood now. See if you can find the dominant energy, the dominant color, the dominant temperature. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and share your color mood.
So mine came in smoke, which is weird. I'm not gonna say weird, but it was violet smoke.
Beautiful. Okay.
I would definitely say a very dull but translucent smoky crystal.
Like a smoky quartz. Good. Okay. So now that is what we call an energetic shift. When you tune into what color you are before you do the exercise, and then you tune out and see where you end up, that is how we learn to calibrate our energy. That's how we learn to energy read. That's how we learn to tune into where we are, where we've been, where we're going. We can do this so much, keeping a journal of this morning, night, right? You could do it from, before you played basketball, after you played basketball, before you went to see your friend, when you came back, whatever you want to do it for. And you'll start to be able to tune into your energy so much more deeply. And then what will happen is you'll learn how to tune yourself into whichever energy you want to be tuned into, because we all have different meanings associated with different colors. Some people might say, oh, I feel black today. And that means one thing to them. And somebody else might say, oh, I feel black today. And that means another thing to them. But it's about how you perceive the energy. And so when you start to do that and dial in, you can start to say to yourself, all right, I want to feel bright blue today. And you know exactly what to do to get yourself to bright blue, because you've been paying attention to what shifts and changes your energy. So that's how you become more aware. That's how you work with other people. And then you start to really see other people's colors. And you start to realize, oh, that is a color that goes good with me. That is not a color that goes good with me. Yes, I love this deep ocean blue, but calm and soothing. That's what I'm talking about. That level of depth in description, too, is important. because that is how we know how tuned in we are, how devoted we are to the introspection, how much we are asking ourselves to really see this energy. And it's calming. It was a beam of white light with a gradient mixture of light blue, icy blue with soft purple. The beam is being stretched with the tip of a mixture of a small amount of orange and yellow. Gorgeous. Now imagine the peace that comes over your body when you start to talk to yourself this way. When you start to understand that you don't have to just say, oh, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm sad, I'm all right. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. We ask each other, how you doing? And we just give a generic, I'm good. It doesn't mean anything. Imagine if we started going around and saying, what's your color mood today? Oh, wow, I feel that. I see that. I hear it. I can touch it. I know exactly where you are. Okay. That's the power.
Oh, I say. Never souls like this pod college, not pod class. We didn't upgrade. We didn't upgrade.
Yes, cerulean blue. Come on, Devil Wears Prada.
So information that I personally will definitely be putting into use, because that just, it's, to me, that just gives inner screams inner child. So like that's definitely big on the aspect of healing. Just being able to express in a simplistic way. Like just imagine using that logic of thinking with how a child feels instead of them trying to actually explain that them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've been doing this with kids for years, and it's so much easier for them to tell you how they're feeling in terms of color than to give you a bunch of logic. And you understand, right? You understand what they mean when you hear it.
And you know what, family? We have to tap into that same thing and understand that we actually tap into that every day. So when you wake up, when you go into your closet, or you pick your shirt, or you pick this certain type of hat, or you pick that shirt you're wearing speaks volumes. The color of the shirt that you pick that day, just something that small, screams volumes. If you go to a car lot and you're like, man, I only want this type of car, that screams volumes about your energy signature and what you're aligning with. And this is what I love about it. It's not a lot of things we already know, family, but we're not holding ourselves accountable and really looking at it from a holistic aspect, of the whole aspect of it. We just like, oh, I like black, or I like blue, or my favorite color red. Why? And I'm like, my favorite color was red my whole life. And I connected with it with my hood and with this and this and that, so that all these different things. But I was an angry being, like very aggressive and very angry being. And so once I started to understand the energy of this red, and I dealt with a lot of anxiety, I dealt with a lot of fears per se that I would over project based off of. So this is all root chakra. Energy.
Yes, it
but
is.
Whenever I became King Manifest, from King Cross to King Manifest, my favorite color was green.
Let's go.
And now my favorite color is still green and gold. And so it's even when you change as a being, as a person, that color changes. You change and the color changes. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. And if we recognize our color is changing all the time, every minute of every day, and the more we tune into ourselves, the more we become self-aware, the more we can check ourselves from doing that thing we shouldn't be doing. If we just had the time to say, where am I at right now? Am I in the energy I want to be in? Do I want to show up, hot yellow to this thing? Or do I want to show up calm blue?
That's why I love me and Kyle backgrounds as well, because as far as like when we do the show, they're full of colors.
Yes.
It's not just one color. It's not just because there's options.
Yeah.
Describing
your first one, the darkness with the rainbow, I was like, that's what you got right behind you. Like that, you're in the vibe.
I didn't even connect. Yeah,
see.
I'll say.
I have another question for you, CC.
Yes.
Do you ever escape from reading your own energy, or was there a point where you ever escaped from reading your own energy?
That's interesting. Maybe. I think when I'm meditating, but even then I'm reading in a different way. I think in some manner, once you become self-aware, I think you stay self-aware. Now how you behave is separate from that. But I'm always, if you look at my human design chart, I'm a feeler. I am an emotional being. I feel, straight to my core, and that energy moves to my heart and it comes to my throat. Like I'm all here. I'm all emotion. And I've always been that way. I've always felt a lot. I've always been able to walk into a room and read the energy. And that's why I think I always was a performer, because I could feel where the energy was, so I could know how to lift it. And I wanted to combine it, and I wanted everybody to be focused on one thing, and I wanted us to come together. And, I do this exercise with people where, we learn to clear the energy in the room. And the way we do that is by clapping. And you just clap into spaces in the room until you get a clear, crisp tone back. You can clear the energy in your house this way. It's the same as using a bell to clear energy, but you can do it without having any apparatus. And then I would always ask my students, isn't it interesting? What do we do at the end of a performance or at the end of, a big event? We make noise, we pound, we collect and we clear the energy. We bring all of our energy together as one. We make a big sound together, and then we release and we say, okay, we're done now. We give a physical and a sound, a tangible vibratory frequency to tell everybody ceremony closed. So it's important to have those moments where, without being hyper aware and without being hyper conscious, but being active in our consciousness and our awareness at the level that is being called for in the moment. So that can mean if I'm meditating, I'm deep inside. I might only be focusing on my tailbone and feeling my pulse in my tailbone and just telling myself, let all that stuff go. Just relax, soften, widen, open, just release, release, release. And I'm so focused on what's going on there. And then I might realize in that moment, oh, I'm grabbing my toes. And then I go to my toes and I say, okay, toes, relax. And then I go back and I say, oh, the back of my neck, tighten up. Oh, open that up. So I'm not aware of everything all the time, but I'm always aware of something. Another.
That makes me think back to what you said earlier when you said sounds like when people face hurt, they subconsciously put their hand in their heels. Like even when I find myself sleeping sometimes and I wake up with my hands in certain positions over my body. So that's also let me know that certain aspects of myself I'm subconsciously healing while I'm asleep. So family, like if y'all ever sleep in at nighttime and y'all feel like y'all need a certain healing and a certain chakra, sleep on them hands. Sleep on top of your hands.
Ooh, don't even get me started on how we should be sleeping. Oh, it's a lot. But yes, giving yourself that healing, even when you're just feeling anything, if you can locate where you're feeling it, put your hands there. You want to supercharge it even more? Make sound. Hum into that space. Just decide in your mind, I'm going to hum into my belly. What does that hum sound like? That's how we recalibrate. That's how we calm the central nervous system. That's how we reduce anxiety. That's how we get ourselves back on track by vibrating. And that deep internal vibration, you don't need sound to come from the outside. We got sound machines right here. We can make our own music. We can tune ourselves to a frequency. You put on some frequency music, you want to heal your heart? turn on that frequency music and match the tone with your hum and put your hands over your heart and supercharge all that energy. You'll feel 10 times better, 10 times faster. I'm all about the shortcuts.
So this takes me to a question that I feel like the tribe would appreciate. So for those that are empathic, that are empaths, and they love helping people,
Yes.
but the people that they are helping are energy vampires.
Mhm.
How do they know? And the thing about energy vampires is that it could have been divine to help that person yesterday, but today they're actually an energy vampire. So how do they use? And you've already really answered this question in a way, but I want to kind of, it's this podcast. We like to, say you teaching on algebra, you might hit certain things, but you want to still make sure that you focus in on that one thing. So how do they, how do they how do they become grounded in the intuitive, the intuitive aspect of themselves to know whether this is something they're supposed to act on or something that they're supposed to do, like you had to do, like you said, during whenever the pandemic happened, you now started to have to do it from your home.
Yeah.
Now sometimes we feel like we gotta go to somebody's house or we gotta stay on the phone with them all day. So how do they be able to know when this is a personal, intimate thing with that person, or when this is something I got to do by myself and still get the same result?
Okay, so this is a big thing. I'm working on a post that I think I'm putting up tomorrow, and I'm going to try and get the language right. So even though I wrote it, and let me see if I can actually remember what it was. But the idea is that the answer is that's where the meditation practice comes in. Okay. That's where the recalibrating comes in. Having a ritual, a practice, a continual exercise that allows you to come back to you and to center is the habit base that allows for growth. But the thing about it is, becoming great at meditation is not the goal, right? Self-love alone is not the goal. Finding the flow with community is the goal. And we get there through a meditation practice and through a self-love practice. So the idea is, if we have that balance within ourselves, we will instinctively know when we can give and when we have to save. It's like knowing what's in your bank account. You know when you can give somebody money and when you've got more than enough, and you know when it's time to just hold it down, right? So the same is true for our energetic bank. If you're really balanced, you're on your game, you're doing your meditation, you're taking your time, you feel really like you have a center, that's the time to give. But if you got so much going on that you can't even sit still with your own self, it's not the time. Because all you would be giving is from an empty cup, right?
You just gave me, I was going to add on to this, when it comes to you giving, like you said, you're balanced, you know what you can give. Also, family, this is wisdom I was giving years ago. Don't let people borrow what you can't afford to let them borrow. So if you really need them to pay you back, you probably shouldn't let them have it.
Yes. Right.
And we gotta look at our energy the same way.
Right. Yes. We have to give with the expectation that it will come back. It may not come back from the same direction that we sent it out. And that's where we get too caught up in other people's energies. It's about us from a point of view that we are responsible for us, but we are also responsible to be a member of a collective. That's what we're all here for. We got one planet. They gave us one planet for all of us to share. So if your takeaway is let me go away and heal myself and do my own thing and do it all by myself and not have partnership, and I'm just going to elevate high and I'm going to just meditate and lift off the planet, that's not where it stops. That's the start. Get right with you so that you have something to contribute to the collective, because that's what raises the collective consciousness. That's what creates the new society that we actually want to live in. We have to come back. We have to pour into the collective. This is where we are at in this, there's a collective upgrade going on, right? It's a 7-year. We're so many people's lights are turning on right now, and they're starting to have their spiritual awakenings. They're starting to understand meditation. They're starting to understand breath work. They're starting to dig deeper into trauma and wound healing and inner child work. That's step 1. We are on a road to a collective healing, to a collective conscious upgrade. So don't get stuck on, I'm doing my work. How do you keep coming back to the flow of the collective? How do you keep bringing what you've learned and what you've created within yourself in order to enrich? And the way in which we do that isn't always the way we think. Sometimes it's our job to be an example. Sometimes it's our job to be kind. Sometimes it's our job to give charity. But sometimes it's our time to shut up and sit still and let somebody else work through it on their own so that they can find where they need to vibrate.
I like how she ended that, because with all that great information, great love, great balance, great peace, great wholeness, all that, at the end of the day, she was like, say, family, don't play yourself, pay yourself. Make sure that it always ends in balance.
Yes. Always.
Yeah, I'm first and foremost, I was gonna say gratitude to you for everything thus far. This was probably, for me, my most, in full transparency, my most, I wouldn't say unprepared episode, but I really like to dig and go in, and I really wasn't able to like I wanted to. So it wasn't, even though you never know what's going to happen on a live, Shadow Work Sundays, whatever, it's going to. This was like I had a piece within about, like, it's almost like I saw it, I knew it, even when me and Cop talked. And so this was everything that I could have never expected in the most, beautiful way, and then also this is the beginning of season 6. This is the first episode of season 6. So
Let's go.
5 energy going into that 6 energy.
Yeah. 6 is all about choice, lovers. I love that. I mean, I actually appreciate the surrender that requires, because there are times in our lives when we are meant to be absolutely prepared, but all that preparation that you've done for all those other shows, that still counts today, right? You don't start from zero. It's all cumulative. So even just knowing what it feels like to go in and flow, that now is a thing that is part of your ability. Maybe you don't have to work so hard every time. Maybe you can
talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's powerful to surrender. That's the hardest thing to do. It takes the most strength to let go.
I say.
That's my lesson this week.
Wow. I think that's with the energy being on the planet, that it has been a major release for a while. Since the Pisces energy. Yeah. That's when it started, this releasing, it's a beautiful time, family, because these cheat codes help us not to be in the dump. This retrograde is a shadow retrograde, family. So don't be surprised if your triggers start calling your phone. Mm-hmm. Don't be surprised if the people around you start saying things like, yo, you wasn't on that yesterday. It's because they're not going to know, the people around, they don't know how to alchemize the energy. Their shadow is about to take over in the worst way. And so we know how to alchemize the higher self in the shadow, and we know the power of chaos energy and love. And so how the dualistic aspect of both. So we have to really, really, you know what I'm saying, use these cheat codes of what the goddesses gave us today and anything else that we know to help us not be reactive but proactive. That way we don't go into a place of, so put it like this, right? If say we interact and we snap on somebody during this time, this retrograde time, right? Now your shadow looking at you like, now you got, so right now our shadow, we're one. We in that dance that we talk about. We love, because everybody think you're supposed to fight. We don't fight with our shadow. We dance with it. But at first it's a war. We get out of this dance and we turn it back into a fight. Whenever we react in certain ways during this type of energy. So now instead of dancing with our shadow during the retrograde, we finna have to fight with it. So let's not set ourselves up, family. Let's use these cheat codes that we have in this game, this holographic game, to upgrade. You don't want to come out of it feeling like, damn, that was a retrograde. People get on my nerves, but they're like, bro, retrogrades are actually opportunities to upgrade. Like this is a beautiful time, family. Like, oh, can't hear you.
You're muted, family.
I was like, it's the time for introspection. It's the time to get your affairs in order, not to start new things, not to have new ventures, because you'll be thwarted, you'll be disappointed. It's not the time to book travel, not the time to buy a new computer. It's the time to get your money house in order, especially with the shifts and changes that are going on the planet right now. Really take a look at that stuff and see where you can, make the shifts and changes that are going to make you more resilient for whatever is to come, even if you don't know what that is. How can you make yourself as resilient as possible during this time of power down, of hermiting, of rebuilding, of recharging?
I see. So if do you have anything that you would like to share with anything else? It can be on subject, off subject. Just you do have don't you have a retreat?
I have a workshop that I teach once a month on Zoom. And you can find it at guidedinspo.com. It's a 2-hour workshop where I teach people how to start reading energy. We learn about what gets held where in the body. We learn about why we hold things in the body and how that happens. And then we learn the warm up together. So we go through the whole warm up. So you get to experience what that's like. You get the recording of the workshop so that you can go back and do the warm up whenever you want to. And I really try to teach all of the skills that I use in a really clear way. How do you know what it means when someone looks this way or that way? Or what does the spine shape mean? We really dive deep into all of that. So if you're interested, it's the Art of Awareness Level 1 workshop. It's a different link than the energy reading one, same website, it's just the workshops link. So I'm going to drop that in the video so you can. So if people are interested, it's Saturday, the 15th of April at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we go in, we shift energy, we work together, and we feel the collective vibe. So I would love to have any of you there with me. It would be great.
I see. This won't be the last. I got a few ideas I want to talk to you about. And this really just, I'm going to tell the tribe, y'all get ready for something. I don't know when. Hopefully, I would say this year at some point, but some type of personal in-person healing event. Because like doing it over this is something, it's on the live, but actually it's certain subjects that we want to touch that we can't touch over a live. They're too intense, they're too deep. We don't, so in your energy, oh my God, just the it will be amazing. So we're going to talk, and I also think that we should bring you back on here. We have something called what is it called, bro? The game, but it's not a game. We're not going to call it a game anymore. Shadow Scope.
Okay.
I don't even think we. Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. So it's not a game, family. We called it a game at one point, but it's way deeper than that.
This is not a game.
That was going to be, that was the name of the game.
Oh, this is not a game.
Yeah. Yes. Hell
See?
yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
So
When
I
you
don't know,
stay
maybe
open.
we gotta still, maybe we're gonna still keep it like that. But what it is we put a card on the screen that says a word, fear,
Okay.
disappointment, whatever it is, and they start to speak on where they feel the energy in their body, and then we
Yes.
connect intuitively on what is causing that, what trauma, what chakra, what different things like that.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be very divine to have you, read with us and feel the energy with us, and so we'll set that up,
Awesome.
for the
I'm down.
future. And get the order, do a few things, maybe like a workshop or something. We haven't did a shadow workshop yet, so maybe do something like that. That'll be pretty fun.
Yes.
Amazing. I'm down.
So we just to give y'all a heads up, because no matter what, we're going to do it. It's just depending on how we're going to do it. But well, actually, Kyle, you think I should tell them right now? Next Sunday?
Yeah, I was gonna say nah. I was just gonna say nah.
Yeah.
Just be on
She
the
said
lookout.
no.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, for the next episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. We'll put it like that. We'll leave it like that. So peace, abundance, healing to the tribe. You know what I'm saying? We are grateful for UCC. Y'all go follow her on all platforms, Guided Inspirations. Y'all got to see first and foremost, got to see live and direct, her energy, her power, her heart space. So definitely support the tribe, you know what I'm saying? And we see y'all next Sunday. You know the vibes.
Yes. I would definitely just like to express all forms of gratitude, even to the tribe, to King, to also Guided Inspiration. Definitely go tap into her videos. You know what I'm saying? Even if you book a session or anything like that, her videos on TikTok have some information that you could just pick up on small little cues and things like that. So yes, much gratitude, wholeness unto the tribe.
Oh, it's actually, I should say, just because it's Guided Inspiration with no S. So just so if you have trouble finding it, there's a lot of imposter accounts that people try to pretend to be me.
Yeah.
So just be careful. If it's on Instagram, it'll have the blue check. TikTok, they just, they do what they do over there. So just be careful at Guided Inspiration. You should see my face. If it's on TikTok and it doesn't have 300,000 followers, it's not me. If it's on Instagram and there's no blue check, it's not me. So just protect yourselves out there, because
No, that's facts. Thank you for that awareness, because they really be out here creating multiple thousands of pages.
Yes.
It's wild, y'all. So
Yeah, well, once again, much gratitude, you know what I'm saying? Big energy.
Candlelight in the rising and I feel amazing. Preparation for an early meditation. No procrastination, only elevation. I'm working with a power that can heal a nation. How you vibrating? How you vibrating? How you vibrating? How you vibrating? Vibes on serious, I'm a vortex like a pyramid. A reflection make the mirror flip. Mercury is my inner shit. Manifest. How you vibrating? Big energy. How you vibrating? I travel to other dimensions with all senses. Manifestation, the power of alchemized intentions. Telepathically speaking, you heard every